Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of A Closer Look. The Porgera landowners, following an MOU signing with Boroko Motors in Port Moresby, was for the purchase of 60 Kenworth trucks valued at a sum of $150 million. On Friday this week, the landowners, together with several investors, witnessed the launch of their group of companies under the Ari Group Holdings Limited, an umbrella company aimed at assisting the landowners in the future, where these companies will be owned by the landowners. To mark the significant launch in Le Morobe province, the Kenworth trucks were graced by the traditional landowners of Porgera in the presence of the Ari Group Holdings Limited chairman, Soletaro. The aim behind creating the Ari Group of companies is to ensure that landowners get to own companies 100% as soon as the new Porgera mine starts. Our reporter, Godwin Eki, who was recently in Leh to cover this launching, brings you this story.
Signing the MOU in Port Moresby was the umbrella company of the Porgera landowners. The Ari Group Holdings Limited chairman signed an MOU with Boroko Motors recently in Port Moresby, which saw as a way forward for the landowners. Present was Soletaro, Ari Group Holdings Limited chairman, together with the managing director for EPCM, Carl Yalo, in Port Moresby, in front of the Porgera landowners and the board members and executives. Spearheading the Ari Group Holdings Limited in assisting the Porgera landowners realize their dream to becoming more independent, and one that will sustain the lives of the landowners moving forward for the first time, thanks to EPCM Managing Director Carl Yalo, who said that it's time that Porgera landowners be given the opportunity so that they do not suffer for the next 20 to 30 years.
What we have done is put together finance and put together trucks for the landowners. The landowner company owns 100% of the vehicles that you see before you, and more brand new units have yet to come, 60 more units. Our role is to empower them. Our role is to give them opportunities that they would otherwise have had in the last 30 years, which they did not, unfortunately, and we are trying to make it better for them in the next 20 years. So with respect to logistics and transport, what we have done is that we've looked at some existing trucks within the country, and we brought them together, a total of 10 units. Unfortunately, because of space limitations, we're only able to bring in 4. And after the launching, we will be able to register the company on the Barrick procurement database and then enter into project negotiations with the company.
The landowners of Porgera, who received equity and royalties over the last 30 years before the shutting down of the Porgera mine, did not have or own any companies or spin-off businesses that would support the landowners after the shutting down of the mine. This time, with new Porgera ready to head into business soon, the Porgera landowners are now working with industry experts, engineers and some of the best designers and business partners under the umbrella company Ari Group Holdings Limited. The landowners can finally become service providers where they can work side by side with the mine so that the economy and the cash flow remains in the province, with the people of Porgera with businesses 100% owned by the landowners.
There's 30 years, Hamburg company inside the small areas. So 30 years we are missing out about a spin-off business. So maybe in the Ari Group long or 7 clan. By now I'm yet by Tidilo setting my business, local like contract. So now Salo 60 Mixima 60 Kenwoods, 60 very new 60 Kenwoods Mixima last time maybe sending one them CEO long Brogomoros long Mosby. Now me come launching long I people lumi all gam long all sailors, na directors, all beneficiaries, all come to place direct Porgera to lay. Then me no totok na din lo all in pebao. Lo asking money o. Emnisla no gat me wakim action longan and me baim longan and now me free long. Picture mi budim ya. 60 plus staff but lilik place o semna. Example mi budim ma. Popla long look sawe. Now all people yen by gamna look sawe na. Mi lo by ready lo sima contract now. Ready lo sima contract. And contract before mi bla no garam bla company bla mi bla lenonas. And 30 years all been out.
Celebrating a milestone achievement in Ley Morobe province by the Porgera landowners was the launching of the Ari Group Holdings Limited, an umbrella company that consists of various businesses. These businesses include the Ari Construction Limited, Ari Mining Services Limited, Ari Manpower Limited, Ari Energy Limited, Ari Transport Limited, Ari Catering and Camp Management, Ari Fuel Supplies Limited, and the Ari Aviation, all falling under the Ari Group Holdings Limited that belongs to the Porgera landowners. The launching in Ley saw present the investors, board chairman and his board members, and the consultant to Ari Group, Carl Yalo. The traditional landowners of Porgera graced the Ley International Hotel where they danced in front of the new Kenworth trucks that now belongs to the landowners.
And several companies have put their hands up to partner with the landowner company. And that is a very important process. With the experience they have, the infrastructure they have, they'll be able to bring significant value to the landowner company so as to meet the requirements of Barrack.
He said this is the new beginning for the people of Porgera, one that will sustain their lives in the next 30 years.
In the launching to be conducted inside, there are several service companies that will also be introduced. And one is mining services, Ari Mining Services, again 100% owned by the landowner companies. Ari Power, you may have had the landowner executives talk about power supply to the mine by an entity owned by the landowners. There is a power source separate from the IDES power supply that the landowners have been working over since last year, and that will be revealed today. There are also partnerships to be signed with aviation companies. They will also see a presentation on fuel import by landowners to be supplied to the mine, and there are various other service opportunities that we say the landowners should be involved in themselves.
Chairman of Ari Group added that having witnessed the launch and having the landowners witness what is happening gives them a sense of pride. This was achieved through the signing ceremony at Ley International Hotel, where chairman and other significant authorities had to sign to acknowledge the start of partnership and progress.
So mi bilang biar nama policy belong Honorable James Marabe as Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, and mi bilang wagi ma take back efficiency. Sad lo Porgera mine na talk take back efficiency. Ino na la resource na la mine. Talk lo Porgera mine ya. So now Porgera landowners, people lo Porgera, Papa ground, all like him 100% lo take back 100% lo Porgera mine. Essentially lo spin-off business and lo contract. People like 100%.
This is something, according to chairman, that will really help the next generation of Porgera for the next 30 years, knowing that businesses are now owned by the landowners themselves.
You may see an hotel designed behind me. It's called Lakato Hotel. Ideally, it sits at the waterfront, at the Isle of Port Moresby, so that when international guests, tourists, etc., fly in over head of Moresby, the first view that they will have of Port Moresby is a stunning image of our hotel. The landowners have the financial capacity to be able to invest in a resource, in an infrastructure like this hotel, and so we are helping to guide them, give them advice, counseling, that you will be making a lot of money, and you've got to think of the future, and the hotel investment is an ideal investment in that regard.
He added that hydropower project is also on the agenda together with other projects.
And what you saw on the 28th of September was a video presentation showing the extensive work that has been done to date. And as a result of the work done over a period of some 12 months, the data collated is now able to demonstrate very clearly that a 100 megawatt power supply or power generation from this site is possible.
Moving forward, Carl says all this is done for the greater good of the Porgera landowners moving forward into the future.
After the break, we take a look at the peace restoration process currently underway in Enga province. Welcome back to a closer look. Minister for Higher Education and Sports and member for Kandep Open, Don Porgera, took on the lead in advocating for peace in the warring tribes within Kandep and Wapenamanda districts in Enga province, following tribal fights that escalated at an unprecedented level where international communities had turned it into a topic of their discussions on various news platforms. In a press conference this week, Minister Porgera revealed that leaders of respective tribes have laid down weapons and called for ceasefire, and the process of peace is currently underway. Reporter Sharon Engnui with this story.
Taking the lead in advocating for peace in Enga province is member for Kandep Open, Don Porgera, who applauded the leaders of the warring tribes for the ceasefire that already happened.
The Wapenamanda people and the Kandep people, those of you who have been affected, you've made your decisions to create a ceasefire. I commend all the tribal warriors, all the tribal leaders, all the young fighters, every one of you who participated in the tribal warfare. You have called a ceasefire 3 weeks ago, and I'm very thankful to you. You've done very well. Prime Minister is very thankful. Everybody else is very happy that you have laid down guns and armament, and you have now started the peace process. Ceasefire we have already achieved in 3 weeks of no fire. I must commend every tribe people in Wapenamanda for the achievement, and also in Kandep too. I'm thankful for all of you for achieving that. In Kompian too, there's not been any report or any incident of tribal fights in that part of the province as well. And we are very thankful.
This will now be followed by issuing of the preventive orders through the provincial system, which all tribal leaders will sign commencing next week, in which the minister will join.
We have done the ceasefire. The next thing we're doing is we are issuing through the provincial system, the provincial law and order director, Mr. Nelson, and the chairman, Ackerman, under the governorship of Honorable Grand Chief Sir Peter Ipatas, and the administrator, Sandis Saka. The administrative positioning is now in place to issue the preventive orders, and that's happening. Next week, I'll be traveling up there to Enga to participate with them, to support them, and to encourage the people, the tribes and the warriors, the opposing tribes to come together to receive those preventive orders and to sign on it. And that is happening next, I see.
Minister Porgera has called on the development partners for support, highlighting that the tribal warfare escalated to an unprecedented level.
The Australian government has been very, very loyal and faithful to supporting us. I'd like to thank the United Nations and UNESCO, the others who've been so faithful in helping us, the Red Cross. I'd like to commend the Red Cross so faithfully helping Papua New Guinea in times of challenging, times of despair like this. And other NGOs that may have participated, I'd like to also thank them for their participation with us. I'd like to thank the New Zealand government, Japanese government, and others will come in to assist in some ways. I'd like to recognize that and thank you. And we will continue to mobilize your support to channel in these two areas. One, humanitarian help, and a second, infrastructure. In a normal trouble fight, I wouldn't be asking for this. I wouldn't get our inner linen and put it in the table here. That would be embarrassing to do. But this has gone beyond a normal standard of trouble warfare. It has gone far beyond. It's escalated to a level unprecedented. For instance, the kind of guns used is not the type of guns we saw used. And they're machine guns like the guns you find in Afghanistan. No, you can't find they're out there fighting, and probably the Ukraine and Russians are fighting each other. And those kind of things. We have seen even people are applying other technologies, and I did mention the drones as well. And then the level of killing is not very minimal. In the traditional society, 1 or 2 or 3 deaths is too many already. But now, countless. And it is just unacceptable, intolerable to the human dignity. And that is not right. So we have this really escalation of the trouble fight to a standard we have never seen. Therefore, the damage has been huge. So we must look at the humanitarian support system that must be created to help people. And I'd like to ask all our development partners, and the Prime Minister is well aware of this, the Minister of Internal Security Police is well aware of this.
Minister Porgera also issued a stern warning to those involved in facilitating the tribal warfare in the 2 districts.
Any person who disrupts this peace process already started will be dealt with very severely. That, let me tell you, people in Enga province, especially those that are involved in these fights. This country is a small country, and those of you who are involved in it, you are already known. Your names are in the recorded books of government. I've spoken to the police commissioner of Papua New Guinea, Mr. Manning. I've spoken to the other law enforcement agents. I've spoken to them about these issues, and I have come to realization that all of you are involved in one way or another in the tribal warfares in Wabanamanda, in Kompiam, in Kandep, in other parts of Enga. You have been listed. All of you have been listed. Your names are in government records. You are not hidden. Whether you be a public servant, whether you be a private businessman, whether you be a lawyer, an accountant, whether you are working overseas or whether you're working within Papua New Guinea, all of you have been listed.
Porgera made this statement due to allegations which have been circulated that the tribal warfare happening in the districts were facilitated by influential individuals. Porgera says supporting tribal fights is a criminal act, highlighting that their actions have a greater impact on the nation.
The tribes are known, the clans are known, and every one of you is known. If you start this fight again, even after the ceasefire, I'll tell you what will happen. We will not go arresting those young people that are being used and we've been given the gun, we've been supplied the money. I will be very strong on this. Me, Don Porgera, I will be very strong on this. I will take it personally. And I will work with the police and law enforcement agents to get all of you in.
Minister Porgera urged those involved in facilitating this tribal warfare to engage meaningfully to bring peace into the area.
Those you people living, Engans living overseas and Engans living in Papua New Guinea, I urge all of you to contribute meaningfully to bring peace support us partner with us in the custom ways that we have already established. So tell your warriors and tell them, go and sign the Form 4 or the preventive order and the restraining order. Tell your tribesmen not to touch the gun again. Tell them that now we must make peace. Tell them that we now do the custom, and tell the older people and other people who know about the custom, the provincial government system, the national government, development partners within the periphery of work that I am doing. You call on us and work with us in partnership, so we come in and we start doing the custom, and then we start to look at the humanitarian aid and also do the rehabilitation of those destroyed properties and infrastructure and business.
According to Porgera, this peace restoration process will ensure there is peace in Enga province in the long run.
Don't go away. When we return, we highlight the Central Province Peace and Reconciliation Program spearheaded by Governor Rufina Peter. You're watching a closer look. Central Provincial Government has undertaken its Peace and Reconciliation Program starting in Goilala District. This followed a consultation that was done by Governor for Central Province, Rufina Peter, with Provincial Executive Council, the Provincial Administration, Chief Representatives, church leaders, local level government managers, councillors and community leaders. On last week Thursday, the start of the peace program eyed the Guari LLG and was launched at the Kamulai Mission Station in the Goilala District. Grace Papiali reports.
The Provincial Executive Council of Central Province has resolved to see the Peace and Reconciliation Program rolled out to the remaining districts of the Central Province and completed before September 16, 2025. According to the program, Goilala District was the first to have the program launched. A trip by chopper was made to Guari LLG, where Central Governor and guests attended. The program started off with a liturgical mass. Governor Peter then addressed the people.
So now you play worry, you play a goal last, but today you play beat him. What's happening? It's happening LLG. Now you play first straight la working LLG level peace and reconciliation. One plot time. Name you by para pisilo. Worry LLG na goilala. Hold him strong, talk Lord God. Hold him strong, talk Lord God.
Ward 9 Councillor of Guari LLG, Isaiah Hatai, encouraged youth participation in the program.
People with all yampla mangi. Now time blame me lo walking walk. All para blame me looking, member big man. All bana walking walk now. So people gara one belt again by me walking walk na kaning kla tangieta na stone me puti me maki mosem. Ogara passing me finish him now. City to life a mad. Now how by me him something, him by walking way blame me look him something look him come lo place blame me lo. Developing place blame me, walking straight in coffee blame me, one something where him by walking na chim money lo ne mem stop but immediate lazy na him go come come sit down, wait him government, wait him member, wait him governor, him waste him time blame me stop. Ground stop. People need him help come, him straight him immediate, register him, one something him like register him. Now you one, you go, all by na help him. Him register him, association blame me, him go, governor member by helping me. So enough pro every problem you him come work one time, na ini moving sa something. Enta sumiba na tuto planting.
Church activities in the communities has been stressed on by Bishop Otto. He called on the youths to do away with the illegal activities in the communities.
Bilang boys, when I look before and we go pins, Lucy. God is Lucy, deal on slab business. Now I'm starting new plan live on the Yupla. If you don't know this land now, we appeal on young boys, please do some gun, do some marijuana, do some round passing, sit down, I'm steady dress for you. Thank you, a blast of the plan, Mr. Bishop Yupla. God bless you,
In order for the program to roll out, a funding allocation of 10,000 kina was presented to the people of Gwari.
So me come give him 10,000, and Mark block government come now. Give him this 10,000, like you plan now, all councillor na chiefs by sitting down him, all get the people now. You plan, how you plan make him this plan peace, low ward level. Ask Tintin blood this money me plan give him.
The ward-level activities will start with individual family units reconciling amongst themselves, extended families and clans, and will progress to ward and LLG into the district-level reflection and reconciliation. Governor Peter believes that this program will prepare the people to participate meaningfully and become responsible citizens of the country to the development of local communities and collectively to their LLGs, districts, the province, and the country as a whole.
And that's all we have for you on tonight's episode. Join us same time next week Sunday for another Closer Look episode. From all of us here, pleasant viewing and goodbye.